Let's have the look at the, we'll call it 95% complete Junkyard Javelin. There's a few parts I thought showed up to make this 100% complete, but turns out they haven't showed up yet. And then we'll just kind of go over everything on it. Maybe this will give some of you guys information that you might want to know, and maybe not, but we're going to kind of start under the car first, just because that's where most of the stuff has taken place in the last, I'd say month or so. Don't mind all these oil leaks. Anyways, so we got the exhaust done. I don't remember if we showed any of this in any of the other videos, but it's pretty much done, or 99% done. I'm still waiting for my other 3-inch turn down for that side, so it's 99% complete. A lot of custom stuff had to go into getting the exhaust in. The other thing we're waiting for are the correct starter bolts, so 99% complete on that. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram or any of that stuff, then you'll see that I reinforced this cross member for the transmission quite heavily because it was flexing quite bad. So completely reinforced. Turbo 400. And I had to reinforce it because I had to cut out a good chunk of it, which I don't know if we're going to be able to see, but where that tail shaft kind of sits, I had to cut out a big old section out of it, so it really weakened it. But this, as far as the cross member setup, I was actually able to use the factory bolt holes for the transmission cross member. I know on my AMX and this Javelin anyways, they had a few multiple holes, probably for different transmission options, but we were able to put that in there. She's all set in place. As far as the drive shaft goes, that is 52.5 inches exactly from that rear end, and that gives us 3/4 of an inch travel with the suspension compressed and everything, so works out good. Again, 52.5 inches. Drive shaft hoop, you know, I put them in the AMX. I gotta put one in the Gremlin yet, but pretty simple procedure in my opinion. And even on the AMX, the drive shaft favors the driver side of the trans tunnel. So I don't really know why that is, but even the rear end over there favors the driver's side. But just like I said, same thing on AMX. Transmission dipstick tube is actually the factory Turbo 400 tube. It actually fit in, so that was good. TCI shifter, floor shifter kit with cable and everything. It all fits on the Turbo 400 really well. Transmission cooler lines are still braided and they go up to the transmission as they should. And then yeah, that's kind of everything under here. This wire sitting here on the exhaust, I used to have an air fuel ratio sensor back when this was the LS, and I had to plug that port, that hole up, so I had an old O2 sensor laying around. I'm probably going to get another air fuel ratio set up, but for now we don't need it. That kind of does the transmission area. Oh, and we had to put in a mini starter. The full-size starter definitely would not work with our very custom headers. We'll come over here to the radiator area. So I had to build a pipe out of actual header. Had another set of headers I cut up to make all of our custom headers, and that's what that's about. So just a flex hose, flex radiator hose from the Chevy water pump over a 90, and then I got, this is actually kind of a slightly bent 22 degree or something coupler I made out of another radiator hose, and that's just to give me some more clearance between the harmonic balancer and that. I will come back and grab a bracket and make a bracket for it, but that's at a later date. I mean, the reason that we're still 95% done on the whole car is because the last 2 weeks the weather has just been really horrible up here. Ice jams, negative wind, rain, and snow. It's been just really horrible. A really bad winter so far. And right now, even though it looks like it's sunny out, it's not, and it's probably not even 1 degree outside. So, and there's 4 to 5 inches of ice in front of my shop door. You can't even drive up to the shop door. It's so slick. But anyways, that's my point, is some of the stuff, you know, we'll get to it once we can get this outside and actually start trying to drive it and do some tuning on it. But anywho, here's our still braided transmission lines going to our radiator. And that kit was pretty cheap. I got it from Summit. I think it was like $100. And yeah, works out pretty good. I might tidy it up a little bit over there eventually, but like I said, we'll see how that goes here. And that's kind of everything on here. I think last year I made a video on building a new core support, or whatever you want to call it. The custom spoilers we make here still looks good, still fitting on the car good, so brings out the flavor in the car. But yeah, the underneath of the car look pretty good for a Junkyard Javelin. I mean, you can still see the old Junkyard parts in it. But all right. Well, we will move on to under the hood, and I'm actually going to get this off the jack stands. So let me get this all situated, and we'll bring you back. All right. Well, here up at the front of the vehicle, we did a quick repaint of that old orange fender. Now, this is not perfect by any means, and we're probably going to redo it again. It's just same thing. Can't really paint in the winter time, and can't push the car out to let it dry, and the paint fumes are just too strong. So same thing with the hood. We're going to clean up the hood a little bit and get it looking not so faded. Alright, well anyways, up in the front, got our spoiler. We did get finally a title and everything, so this car has a registration, plates, and insurance. So it can be driven on the street. We put the Franken hood on the car because, you know, we could redo something with the old Junkyard hood, but I don't think the Franken hood's going to fit too good on the AMX anymore. So fits perfect on here. Air cleaner clears it. Everything's great. So, but with that, we had to do hood pins, because that's what the Franken hood uses to keep itself shut. But Franken hood's holding up pretty good. There's a whole series on me making this hood out of 3 hoods. So anyways, as far as the engine goes, it hasn't a whole lot changed probably since the last time, but we did have a very good donation of a Holley 750 carburetor for it. So we got a really nice carburetor. It runs the car a lot better than that other carburetor was. Under the hood, as far as what we're waiting for, is I ordered some boots, different spark plug boots to get the spark plug off of the steering column there. And those didn't come in. I ordered some new wiring, the ones that you crimp and make yourself connectors. That stuff didn't come in, so I'm going to clean up all this because this used to have dual fans on it, but it's only got one. Speaking of the fan and stuff, this 16-inch fan, no matter what I did, doesn't really fit very good, so I couldn't center it. And you can see the radiator is right up against that bottom core support. I have the radiator spaced out about 3/8 of an inch, just to give enough room there, and it clears, just barely. But I had to build a metal pan over it, or a shroud, whatever you want to call it, just because I couldn't center it, and that's what this paper down here is for. We're doing our air test, and it actually sucks the paper nice and firm against all of this, except for the last maybe 4 or 5 inches. A couple of people told me, well, I should have put some holes or slots in there, and I might down the road do that. We'll see how it works. And then this piece of sheet metal that we're using, you can see there's a crease in the metal. Well, that used to be the hood scoop off the Gremlin, and never was going to use it on anything else, and I hate to let it go to waste, but probably can't see it, but that's all black paint on the other side because it used to be black on the hood. But that's what we do, recycle everything we can around here. You can kind of see that lower radiator hose a little better. It's got a little bend to it. Anyways, once we get that, we'll clean up that wiring there, get that all nice and pretty. And like I said, as far as this engine goes, there's not really anything else we need for it. I gotta make a better fuel line going down to the fuel pump, but that's just some easy tuning stuff, as I like to call it. I might patch up that hole a little bit, and I might not. The heater core is totally shot in this car, so for now it doesn't matter. I've got a fan I could stick in there, but I was thinking about cutting just a circle and sticking in there because we're not going to be running a heater anyways. Yeah, I mean, pretty tight fit, but it all fits. And then I got this Mr. Gasket oil dipstick here, and works pretty good. I don't have any issues with it. I got to get a new dipstick. That was the other thing we're waiting for. I got just a whole new tube and dipstick, so that's how I could buy it. The dipstick for the transmission is actually broken off, so as soon as those parts come in, they're real super simple, easy things to slap on this car and be done with it. A lot of people have donated little small items to the Junkyard Javelin here in the last few months, and that means a lot to us. It means a lot to Chelsea because she's going to be racing this car, so I really appreciate that stuff. It took quite some time, but we finally found a door striker, but it hasn't showed up yet. I hope it does show up. I mean, it wasn't like raising any flags that it was not a legit deal, but we'll see. It's been a couple weeks. So we need a door striker for that door. That's pretty much, as far as body-wise on the car, what we need. Back seat I upholstered myself, is still looking pretty good. We did get some new Summit Racing seats and put back in it. And they're not bad, you know, they come with their own universal bracket, but you can actually put the AMC seat brackets, bolt them on by just getting 2 pieces of stock metal 1/4 inch by 2 inches by, we'll just say 18 inches, and drill the holes for the bolts on the bottom of the seat, put those in there, and mark your little stud sticking out of the AMC seat rails, and they'll bolt right in the car, no problem. You don't have to do anything fancy, and you don't have to cut up your factory seat rails, and they adjust and everything with the AMC adjuster. So as far as the dash goes, we put gauges in the center pad there. We got a GPS speedometer. We got a retro style tachometer. Like I said, we got the TCI, another TCI shifter. They work good, and that's what was in this car before we sold the LS. The guy wanted the shifter with it too, which was fine because it was set up for that 4L80E. This one's set up for the Turbo 400, but we got our brake lock button on the shifter there. That seems to work pretty good. Fire extinguisher, and overall the interior and the Junkyard Javelin's really not too bad. We had to paint the floors in that Kills paint because it stunk like a dead rat so bad for a long time. Windows roll up and down in it. I might put the door panels, the custom door panels we have for the AMX in this car, because I guess we're just going to make the car, the AMX, a true drag style car, and it probably won't have door panels anyways. I don't know why the little door thing on that side doesn't turn on the map lights, but you open the driver's door, they all come on. Buzzer still works for the headlights. Like I said, one day that just started working and really freaked me out. Footprint gas pedal still in here. All these switches are for our halo lights, and this one runs the fan. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but that's how you turn the fan on. So I've had people say, because all my cars are just switched fans, you should run a thermostat controlled fan. You know, I've done that once. We had a Camaro that had a lot of overheating problems, and we bought one of those thermostatic controlled adjustable fan switch things, and that thing never worked right ever. It'd either stay on and run your battery down dead, or it wouldn't come on, or however. So it just was too, it wasn't very consistent. So in my opinion, I've never had any problems just having a switch for the fan, and you can't accidentally leave it on because the key's got to be on for it to even work. But we're excited to try the GPS speedometer. There's the sensor. You're supposed to put it up on the roof. We're going to try to put it in the dash and see what happens, but never know. We may have to put a little hole in the roof and stick them on the roof. But yep, the old Junkyard Javelin is coming right along. Oops. Out of focus again. There we go. So at this point in time, right now, it runs, it has brakes. I don't know the condition of the transmission still because it's too cold, and I couldn't drive this even if I tried to see what it would do. There's potholes of ice deeper than this car out there. So we'll try that once it warms up, but basically just showing everybody all this stuff because she's probably going to get pushed over to the side here. I imagine we got another 30-40 days of real crummy weather before the roads even start thawing out over here to where you could try to drive the car. But the next video, hopefully we'll be able to test out that transmission, see what a horrible job I did on throwing it back together, and if the transmission works and the car is done and ready to go. Maybe just some mild tuning on the carburetor, but we got it set pretty good. So alright, well anyways, I appreciate everybody watching these videos, and like I said, we'll get something out here on this car once the weather gets better. That's kind of where it's at now. Just gotta wait, and then we'll drive her around. But In the meantime, we're getting parts in and gathering them up for the AMX. Inside here we got a collection of parts showing up, and there's more parts showing up all the time. So the biggest things that we need for this still is to get the pistons for the freshly bored engine. And right now it's just in here mocking up, or just getting throttle parts put in here, figuring out which way we want to run the carburetors and all that fun stuff. So as soon as some more stuff comes in and I save up some more money, we'll get back on this guy, and fingers crossed we're going to be able to run it this year. Alright, well anyways, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.